Well, hello there, amazing people of that YouTube and where else you are watching me. Someone sent this to me in Discord. 19 things Linux users never say from Samtime, and I love Samtime. He's a funny guy. He's an amazing guy.
Actually, you're right, and I have nothing further to add. Certainly not several paragraphs.
Oh, that's the, yeah. I feel we all have been victims for this. This is the typical, the amazing, the Linux people think that they are smart people just because they're running Linux. That therefore they are higher intelligence and more right than everyone else. Yeah, they never shut the fuck up.
It just works. It just works. Hey, everyone's talking about it. Ah, dang, no one online has encountered this issue before. Well, when I find out the solution, I'll definitely keep it to myself.
Yeah, it just works. I actually heard that. I actually heard that from Linux people, that it just works. Yeah, and I've also heard people find a solution and not sharing it with other people. So yeah, they are saying it, but not a lot of people.
No, damn it, I value my time. Pseudo apt, but don't get. I don't always fresh install, but when I do, the screen's the right way up every time. No, I just picked any distro. Yeah, I didn't do any research. No, I think I'll stick with this one. Definitely won't change next week.
I feel that's EB. That's the majority of Linux users that I know. They rarely stick to just one distribution, or they don't stick with the first one they choose. They always end up on a distribution, then they wait like a year, 6 months, a month, or a week, and then they change distribution again. Do Linux users have commitment issues? That's the question we should ask ourselves, though.
What? What's a command line? Ah, looks like this company has put a lot of effort into their Linux.
Yeah, again, something I have heard that, again, Elementary OS, that they have put a lot of effort into their Linux distribution, but they really have not. Either, so there are like two group of Linux distribution makers. The ones that are focusing on the back end and the front end. Elementary OS, they just want to put a pretty face on an ugly pig. That's kind of their deal, you know. And then you have someone like Pop OS System 76 that's trying to do both, but right now they're focusing on putting lipstick on an ugly pig. Then you have Ubuntu. They are focusing a lot more on the back end, the same with OpenSUSE and to some extent Fedora. Debian is a really good example. They just, ship out the stock standard fucking experience that you get from the developers and arts for that matter.
So, of course I'll select a price that isn't zero. Oh, now look at this. Yeah. These developers have put so much work into these apps, so of course I'll pay them.
Yeah, Linux users are cheap motherfuckers. Not going to lie here, they really are cheap motherfuckers. My 25 years experience with Linux and Linux users is that they say they like Linux and open source because X, Y, and Z, but in reality, most of them like it because it's free shit. Like, when I mean free shit, they don't have to put out physical money for it. But in the overall part of it, they actually just like it because it's free. Because when you have an argument with a Linux user, what is one of the top arguments that comes into the Windows is bad? Oh, Windows costs $100. It's the stability, the antivirus, and the price of a Linux Windows license. Those three pillars is the top fucking foundation for Linux arguments.
What I think they're worth. Oh wow, I'm certainly glad they took out all of these kick-ass features. I mean, who wants a cube?
Yeah.
I certainly haven't seen the movie Cube. Hang on, what's a partition? Has anyone heard of a BIOS? I don't get computers at all. No, I don't think I'm smarter than all you stupid plebs.
Oh, yeah. Oh, this is a good one.
I don't get computers at all. No, I don't think I'm smarter.
This is the foundation of being a Linux fan, is you have to think that you're on a more high ground than anyone else. Your intellect is 100 fucking IQ points higher than the average Windows and Mac user. You are the pillar of human evolution for figuring out how to install an operating system. Can't date girls or guys, can't go out to social gatherings, probably never shower that much, like to argue with nobodies on the internet that have no bearing in your real life, or you don't even fucking know or have any influence in what's going on in your day-to-day life. Yelling and bitching and screaming at other people online for using systems or not agreeing 100% with your philosophy of an operating system and software case. But yeah, you are the most intelligent person in the world, and you are the guiding light of how a human should act and be like.
But then all you stupid plebs, there, got everything just the way I want it. Definitely not gonna fiddle with it now.
Yeah, they love to fucking tinker. And peace be with that, I'm a tinker myself. If I get something, I tinker with it. Everything from a phone to a fucking remote control car. When I was a kid, I loved remote control cars. And I played with them for a day. And then I spent a week taking them apart. And 2 months trying to fucking fit them back together again. I love to tinker. There are people like that love to tinker. If you're one of those, and that is what Linux brings you, hey, peace be with you, man. Just go nuts, do what you need to do.
Definitely not gonna just fiddle with it just a little bit. Oh, this person online is having trouble with their computer. Not to worry, I'll give them the answer in easy to understand layman's terms.
Nope. Again, it's this security complex, IQ complex that the Linux users have, is that they think that the more complicated something is, the better it is. They think that because they can sit down and throw technical terms at your face, that they understand the subject better than you. I can't remember who the fuck said it, but it must have been Einstein. It's some really, really fucking smart person. And this person said that if you can't explain a subject like you're explaining it to a 5th grader, you don't understand the subject. So what that basically means is that if the only way you can explain a subject is going into technical, basically reading the tech manual out loud, you don't understand it, because you have to be able to understand the subject enough to understand this person need this knowledge about the subject, not this. They don't need to know exactly how this works, but how this part works. And you have to be able to have enough insight into people's minds, lives, understanding of the world, that you can compare it with something or use analogies with something that they understand. I use cars a lot. I'm not a smart person. That's why I use cars a lot. But you can use, you have to talk on their level and be able to teach and relay that information on their level. That makes you a really educated and smart person in the subject. If you're just sitting and reading up, well, according to the manual, blah, 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 well, everyone can read that. Not everyone understands. You have to make sure that according to they read the fucking manual, or people, and according to the technical documents, they are made with people that have a technical understanding. That don't mean that they are smart people. It just mean that they understand the underlying lingo of the conversation. They understand the words that are being used because they're specific to this area of work or this area of interest. But if you can't take that and uncomplicate it to a 5th grader and explain it to a 5th grader in a way that they understand, they may not be expert in it, but they understand what's going on. Because there's a difference between understanding that this thing do this thing and this is why, and understanding that this thing do this thing because of the internal thing doing that with the other internal thing that's speaking to another internal thing that's speaking to an external thing. And you don't need to understand the nuances of how something works to just understand how it works on an overall basic level.
Yeah, that's what I'll do. There's plenty of Linux viruses out there. They just don't know how to install themselves. I don't always fix Linux, but when I do, I don't just paste some magic code I found online.
Oh, yeah, So this is something that fucking bugs me with a lot of tech people, or Linux tech people, but tech people in general, is that I have a problem. Let's go on to the Googles and find a copy-paste command and put it in. It's not working. Let's bitch and moan about it. It's not working because you don't understand what you just did. I'm a big component of, again, you don't need to understand every nuance of a subject, but if you don't understand the general principles of the command that you just copy-paste, you could end up having a lot of problems. And I see too many fucking people being like, oh, it's really easy under Linux, and then they just show you a command, and you're like, okay, what does this command do? I have no fucking idea, just post it in, okay? So if I have a problem with that command, I've seen people suggesting sudo apt-get to arts people because, I just found an article and I copy-pasted, and then they say it don't work. Yeah, that's because your friend is on Arch and you are on Ubuntu.
No, it's pronounced Linux. I'm a female.
Subscribe today.
Ah, well, that's pretty good. I mean, the screen's not too upside down. Oh, hey everyone, thanks for watching.
Yeah, what he just described here is how the majority of Linux people act. If you take yourself, it's actually really, really good exercise, peeps. Take yourself out of the Linux community for like a week. You can still mess with Linux, but you don't watch any Linux content. You don't, go on to Reddit, or you don't have anything to do with the Linux community for like a week. You're desensitizing yourself from the Linux community. And then you go back into the Linux community. This is how you will look at it for like a day or so until you like, okay, this is how they are. Okay, I'm now familiar with the lingo and the ways of the Linux community. If you had a summer job, you start to, you are like in whatever grade, you have a summer job. You go to work at a firm, or not a firm, but a company where you are dealing with grown-ass fucking men. Men, women's, whatever it is. You are dealing with secretaries, accountants, handy workers, construction workers, management and all. You are now a young adult or a kid, depending on how old you are, in a grown-up situation. So they are in a certain way. And then you do that your whole summer, and you come back to school, and you're now being plopped into the school's ways of doing things, aka your other classmates. And you figure out how fucking childish and immature they are. Because you've just been in a grown-up situation with grown-ass fucking humans, and now you're with kids again. Bitching and moaning about the guy not liking me, or someone's wearing the same fucking t-shirt as I am, and all that fucking bullshit that means nothing. You're in that childish fucking mindset again. And for a day or so, you were like, oh, they're so childish. But then after 2 or 3 days, you kind of, it's the new norm, and you don't see it as childish anymore because you were in that situation. You're becoming them, so to speak. See you all later. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.